Cynthia Matthews stood at the edge of the dilapidated car park, her heart racing in sync with the ticking clock above the rusty diner sign. It was 12:42 p.m., and she had just a few minutes to make the biggest gamble of her life. The sun hit the faded blue paint of the 1960s Bookmobile, which seemed to glow against the otherwise grim backdrop. A relic from a bygone era, the vehicle was wrapped in mystery, promising more than just dusty shelves full of forgotten stories. The wind whistled softly, rustling the pages of a tattered children's book that fluttered from the open door, as if beckoning her to take a chance. She couldn't shrug off the sensation that this bookmobile, once trailing through suburbs with eager children inside, might turn her life around. Just $85. The price of a meal, a rare bargain for a single mother scraping by to care for her two children, Mia and Jordan. But what if it was more than that? What if it contained an opportunity? What if, hidden away, was something that could change everything? Cynthia had become an expert at finding treasures amid despair. Single motherhood was a daily struggle. The constant battle with bills and endless grocery lists weighed on her, with each night spent wondering how she would make it to the next payday. Her ex-husband, Brian Matthews, had walked out on them just over a year ago, leaving her alone in a rundown flat that was barely holding together. The depth of her dilemma as a single mother was profound. She couldn't afford to fail again. As Cynthia walked closer to the bookmobile, a figure loomed in her peripheral vision. It was Brian, his familiar presence slicing through her thoughts like a jagged knife. He stood leaning against a faded red truck, arms crossed, an expression of contempt etched on his face. "So, this is what your life has become?" he scoffed, a malicious smirk creeping across his lips. "Buying wrecks from the scrap heap? You'll never be able to fix it up. Just another bad decision." A surge of anger flooded Cynthia's chest, but she swallowed it down. Her children needed her to be strong, not to get distracted by Brian's derision. "I'll do what it takes, Brian," she replied, her voice steady as she held his gaze. "You'll see. This could be a warm place for Mia and Jordan to learn, to dream." He let out a harsh laugh, cutting through the moment like glass. "Dreams don't pay the rent, Cynthia. You're wasting your time. You need to accept reality." Cynthia turned her back on him, focusing on the bookmobile. She could already envision it transformed, painted in bright colors, filled with shelves of books, a haven for kids in the neighborhood. It was her chance to carve out a niche in her community, a way to turn the tide. In that moment, as she tentatively stepped inside, a sense of quiet determination washed over her. Inside, the dust motes danced in the filtered sunlight. The smell of old paper and leather bindings enveloped her like a comforting embrace. It was more than just a vehicle. It was a vessel of hope. Adjusting her eyes to the dim light, she gazed at the haphazardly arranged shelves, each one overflowing with stories that seemed to whisper tales of adventure and imagination. But as she examined the shelves more closely, something struck her peculiar: the absence of a certain order. The chaos felt intentional, almost as if some spaces had been predetermined, as if they were waiting for something. Curiosity ignited, urging her to dig deeper. Just then, she heard a soft clicking sound emanating from beneath a shelf at the back of the bookmobile. Heart pounding, she crouched down to investigate. There, she noticed a small latch hidden beneath layers of dust. It felt out of place, something out of the ordinary in a vehicle that seemed to have held nothing but neglect for decades. A mixture of exhilaration and fear surged within her. She hesitated for a moment but then made up her mind. She had come this far. Cynthia's hands trembled as she tugged on the latch, and with a soft click, the shelf creaked open, revealing a narrow compartment concealed behind it. Inside, the glimmer of metal caught her eye. She reached in, her fingers brushing against a collection of coins, glittering like forgotten wishes. They were stacked high, their surfaces glistening, almost beckoning her to take a closer look. The air turned electric as her mind raced. How could this old bookmobile possibly hold such treasure? Each coin, each glimmering object, seemed to pulse with potential, a promise of a future that could change everything. But reality crashed back into her thoughts. What would Brian say? If he knew, he would take it all away, steal her chance at redemption. But even with the pulse of dread in her chest, she was overwhelmed by hope. Could this be the answer she had been searching for all along? With her heart hammering in her ears, Cynthia made her decision. She would not allow fear to dictate her actions. No more running away from the past. She would embrace this moment and chase after her fate. As she quickly closed the hidden compartment, Brian's mocking voice echoed in her mind. But she wasn't about to let him take this from her. She breathed deeply, allowing a sense of determination to wash over her. The stakes had never been higher, and the adventure was just beginning. The real question loomed as she closed the door of the bookmobile behind her. What other secrets lay hidden in this forgotten treasure, and would she find the strength to unlock them all? As Cynthia stepped further into the dimly lit interior of the 1960s bookmobile, she felt a chill run down her spine. The air was thick with dust, and the fading scent of old paper lingered, wrapping around her like a shroud. She could hardly believe her luck. This seemingly neglected vehicle had turned out to be a trove of possibilities. But her heart raced with more than excitement. A gnawing anxiety tightened her chest. The hidden compartment had promised riches beyond her wildest dreams. But now, with that promise came the daunting reality of what to do with them. Cynthia flicked on a small flashlight, illuminating stacks of books, their spines cracked and peeling. As she made her way deeper into the bookmobile, she mentally cataloged the titles, wondering if any of them held clues to more secrets. Yet the thrill of discovery was cut short when she heard the sound of heavy footsteps approaching from outside. She froze, her heart pounding in her ears. Just had been lurking around since the moment Cynthia arrived at the bookmobile. He was a man known for his temper and his unscrupulous methods. She remembered the whispers about him, how he would do anything to get what he wanted. Just was not only after her, but he was after the hidden treasure she had stumbled upon. Determined to access the wealth inside the bookmobile, he would stop at nothing to lay his hands on the coins that had been hidden for so long. Cynthia pressed herself against the wall, heart racing. She couldn't let him find her here. In that moment of stillness, she could hear his voice, low and menacing. "You think you can keep that all to yourself, Cynthia? You don't know who you're dealing with." The implication hung in the air like a thick fog of dread. As the footsteps grew louder, she quickly scanned the interior. She had to find a way to protect herself and her newfound fortune. The hidden compartment was still secure, but how long could it remain undiscovered? She held her breath as just shadow fell across the doorway, blocking out the light. "What's the matter? Lost something?" Just's voice oozed with arrogance. "I saw you come in here. You think I wouldn't notice?" Cynthia straightened her shoulders, steeling herself against the creeping fear. This is my property now. You have no right." He laughed. A cold, hollow sound. "Is that what you think? You think you can just waltz in here and claim this as yours? You've got no idea how this game works." He stepped fully into the bookmobile, his presence filling the small space. "You've found something that doesn't belong to you, and I'm here to take it back." With each word, the tension escalated. Cynthia felt the weight of his gaze, penetrating and predatory. The walls of the bookmobile seemed to close in around her, suffocating her resolve. She needed a plan, and fast. "Listen, she said, her voice steadier than she felt. "I don't want any trouble. I just want to be able to take care of my kids. This is my chance." Just stepped closer, invading her personal space, the menace in his posture making her heart race. "Oh, I know all about your little family, Cynthia. How you're struggling to make ends meet. But don't get too comfortable. Those coins you've found won't be yours for long." Cynthia's mind raced. She needed to outsmart him. But how? "What if I share?" she said, trying to strike a deal. We could work together. You help me figure out how to sell the coins, and we both profit. His eyes narrowed, considering her proposition. Work together? What makes you think I'd ever trust you? Because if you don't, you'll never see a dime. I'll just report this to the authorities. She shot back, adrenaline surging through her veins. You think I'm afraid of you? Just sneered, his confidence unshaken. You think you can scare me? You're treading on dangerous ground, Cynthia. This is bigger than you realize. Suddenly, a crash echoed from outside, followed by a shout. Cynthia's heart leapt. The commotion offered a brief distraction. What was that? She asked, hoping to exploit the moment to her advantage. Just paused, his attention momentarily diverted. Stay here, he commanded, stepping towards the door, his instincts peaked. I'll be back. As soon as he turned his back, Cynthia sprang into action. She dashed to the hidden compartment, heart pounding, and opened it wide. The coins gleamed ominously in the small light of her flashlight. She quickly began shoving handfuls into her backpack, a surge of panic driving her movements. What if he came back too soon? Just voice rang out from outside, drawing nearer. Don't think you can hide. I'll find you. Cynthia halted, her heart racing. She had mere seconds to secure the coins and escape. She peeked through the small window of the bookmobile, spotting a group of people gathered outside, seemingly engaging in a heated discussion. Perhaps the commotion was her chance. She took a deep breath, stuffing her backpack full before quietly closing the hidden compartment. Cynthia knew she couldn't stay there. She had to leave before just returned, and make it to safety. With one last glance around the bookmobile, she slipped out the back door, careful to remain undetected. Just was still preoccupied, and she seized the opportunity to blend into the crowd outside. As she stepped into the throng, her heart a mix of hope and fear, she knew this was just the beginning. The stakes had escalated, and now she had something to protect. Just wouldn't give up easily, and she would need to stay one step ahead if she was to keep her family safe and unlock the true potential of the treasure she had uncovered. Cynthia stood in the twilight glow, her heart racing as she faced just outside the dilapidated bookmobile, the weight of her discovery bearing down on her. Just, with his imposing figure and a glint of greed in his eyes, had made it clear that he wanted the coins for himself. She clutched the trinket box tightly, ready to defend the treasure that could change their lives forever. Cynthia just sneered, his voice dripping with disdain. You're playing with fire, you know? Hand over the coins, and I might still let you walk away intact. Cynthia's mind raced. She had to think fast. The sunlight dipped further, casting shadows that danced around them, amplifying the tension in the air. You don't understand what this means to me? She shot back, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. This isn't just about money. It's about my family. You'll never take it from me. Just stepped closer, menacingly. You think you can outsmart me? I'll do whatever it takes to get what I want, Cynthia. In that moment, Cynthia remembered the hidden compartment in the bookmobile. A small space, cleverly concealed, that she had not yet fully explored. There was a chance. Perhaps there was a way to use it to her advantage. You really think I'm going to let you bully me into submission? She said defiantly, glancing over her shoulder towards the bookmobile. You don't know what I'm capable of. Just's eyes narrowed, suspicion flickering across his face. What are you talking about? Cynthia took a deep breath, her heart pounding in her chest as she quickly formulated a plan. If you're so eager to take what's mine, why don't we make it interesting? She gestured toward the bookmobile. Let's see who can find the real treasure hidden inside. If you can find anything better than what I have here, I'll hand it over. But if you lose... Just's interest piqued at the prospect of a challenge, his greed momentarily overcoming his caution. What's the catch? He asked, intrigued. No catch, Cynthia replied, her voice laced with a confidence she didn't entirely feel. Just a simple game. Winner takes all. Without waiting for his agreement, she dashed towards the bookmobile. "I'll even give you a head start," she shouted over her shoulder. As she fumbled with her keys, just surged forward, his arrogance propelling him into the vehicle. Inside, Cynthia knew she had the advantage. She had studied every inch of the bookmobile, every hiding place, while just was merely a trespasser in her domain. She slipped behind the driver's seat, crouching low so he wouldn't see her, just scoured the compartments, flipping through dusty books and rummaging through old maps, unaware of the true depth of the treasure hidden away. Cynthia's heart raced as she noticed the flicker of excitement in his eyes each time he unearthed a forgotten relic. But she also saw his frustration growing with each failed attempt to find something of value. Minutes ticked by as Cynthia's plan unfolded. She peeked out from her hiding spot just in time to see just pull out a pile of worn-out manuscripts. "This is all junk," he yelled, throwing them aside in a fit of rage. "Where is the real treasure, Cynthia?" As he continued his fruitless search, Cynthia felt a rush of empowerment. She had grappled with fear and uncertainty, but now she could see the end of the tunnel. "You have no idea what you're looking for?" she called from her hiding spot, her voice steady and calm. "The treasure is more than what glitters." A moment later, just turned to her, rage etched on his face. "Then where is it, Cynthia? Show me." In that instant, she revealed herself, standing tall with the trinket box in her hands. "This is the treasure," she declared. "These coins, and the stories they hold, are worth more than anything you can comprehend. You may have tried to intimidate me, but what I've found is worth defending." Just's expression morphed from arrogance to disbelief. The glint in his eyes had dimmed, replaced by doubt. "You really think you can protect that?" "Yes," she replied firmly. "Because they belong to me and my family." At that moment, something shifted in Just. The fight had gone out of him. The greed that had previously fueled him now crumbled under the weight of Cynthia's resolve. "Fine," he muttered, backing away slowly. "You can have your coins, but mark my words, Cynthia. I won't forget this." As he retreated into the darkness of the evening, Cynthia felt a wave of relief wash over her. She had done it. She had stood her ground and protected her family's future, even if it meant risking everything. Hours later, Cynthia sat in her kitchen, the trinket box open before her, its contents catching the soft glow of the overhead light. The coins gleamed, whispering untold stories from the past. As she sorted through them, her children ran in, their laughter filling the air, reminding her of what was truly important. The immediate weight of fear and uncertainty began to lift as she realized they were safe. In the months that followed, Cynthia transformed the coins into a new beginning. She secured a modest but stable home for her family, feeling the walls of her new life solidify around them. With each coin she sold, she invested in their education and comfort. A simple car to get them to school, an upgrade in their living conditions, and even small adventures that allowed them to create memories together. As the years passed, the coins became a symbol of resilience and hope. Cynthia watched her children grow, their futures brightened by the road she had paved for them. She had turned a hidden treasure into a beacon of opportunity, and she knew her journey was just beginning. However, as the sun set on the horizon, Cynthia often found herself gazing at the bookmobile parked in her driveway, a reminder of everything she had overcome. In the quiet moments, she wondered if Just had truly left her behind, or if he was still lurking, waiting for another opportunity to reclaim the treasure he believed was his. But for now, Cynthia had everything she needed: a family, a home, and a treasure that was so much more than coins. It was the strength of a mother's love, the promise of a brighter future, and the unwavering spirit to fight for her family against all odds.